Right, before we get going with this week's Payday project, we have hit a little snag with the bike. Now, if you remember right from the beginning, I announced that it was our intention to have the wheels on the Albion rebuilt for something a little bit upmarket, and we also wanted to reduce the diameter of the front wheel down from 19 inches to 18 inches. Now, before this series even started, we did have a promise from a company that they were going to undertake that work for us, so we thought it was all done and dusted. Unfortunately, about a month ago, when we were on the point of pushing the button on that part of the project, this company became a little bit elusive, and to cut a long story short, last week they told us that they weren't going to rebuild the wheels for us, which means we're a little bit stuck. While we've been waiting for them to make their mind up what they're doing, the MOT has expired on the bike, so I can't ride it on the road. Now, ordinarily this wouldn't have been a problem, I would have just taken it in for a new MOT, but I know that the bike requires a new front tyre, and we didn't really want to spend best part of £100 on a new front tyre just to get it through the MOT and then have to scrap that tyre if we did get the front wheel rebuilt. But rest assured, we are talking to other companies. We're not sure yet whether we're going to find a solution to this problem, but either way I will let you know in due course. It's very frustrating to hit a problem like this because so far everything else has just gone like clockwork, and just to make matters worse, there are companies like EBC and Hell Performance who have provided us with some brake components for this bike which can't be fitted until we know what we're doing with wheels. So this has also had an impact on their cooperation. But rest assured, myself and Motone will make a decision on what we're doing as quickly as we can, and we'll get things back on track in respect of that part of the project. So onwards and upwards. So today we're going to talk about braces. Now, braces are very useful things. Gentlemen of a certain age use them to stop the trousers from falling down. Teenage girls go through the agony of wearing them to straighten the teeth so they can take better selfies. And you can also use them to improve the handling of your motorbike. Now, before we get into the intricacies of the fork brace that I'm going to fit to the T100, first of all we need to understand why you would fit a fork brace to a bike. Your front forks are two long hollow tubes with a joint in the middle. They can't be made rigid because then the bike wouldn't handle and it wouldn't be very comfortable. So those forks are telescopic and they have a spring mounted inside. Then, to make matters worse, they're effectively mounted on a hinge so that you can steer the bike. Now, conventional bike construction dictates that they're connected to the yokes at the top. They're connected loosely by the axle at the bottom, and then generally speaking there's a very rudimentary fork brace that's fitted in an attempt to stop the fork from actually flexing under use. Now, this is usually hidden underneath the front fender and it's made from steel, which in itself is quite flexible, and it should be considered to be the absolute bare minimum required to stop the bike handling like a bowl of jelly on wheels. Now, with Triumph, just like many other bike manufacturers, this is a compromise between safety, handling, and how much money it's going to take out of Mr. Blow's pocket when he builds it. And it's been widely acknowledged for decades that if you want the absolute best handling from a motorbike, it's going to be necessary to fit some sort of fork brace. Now, there are fork braces available for just about every make and model of motorcycle out there, but of course this is Payday Project Part 15, so what we're going to be looking at today is Motone's precision-made fork brace built especially for the air-cooled twins. This is a CNC machine part milled from aviation grade 6061T aluminium. And unlike a lot of other fork braces on the market, Motone have, as usual, walked that extra mile to make sure that this is a super precision fit. A design that's intended to reduce torsional stress on the forks and maintain fork alignment at speed and whilst negotiating bends. Now, it comes complete with a set of adapters made from a material called Delrin, which I believe is some sort of plastic, and these are designed to accept the rubber fork gaiters that come with the T100, although you can remove them if you don't have the gaiters fitted. It does fit all T100 models from 2001 right up to 2015, except the Scrambler and the mag wheel version. The surfaces in this brace that mate with the tops of your forks have been designed and machined to integrate perfectly with the design of the top of the forks, and this is what sets these apart from a lot of other braces on the market. They come complete with a set of stainless steel bolts, and the brace itself comes in a black, highly polished anodized finish. Fitting in essence is quite simple, providing you follow a few simple rules. I'll quickly take you through it. Now, the first thing you need to do is get the bike as upright as possible. Obviously a centre stand would be ideal here. If you really want to, you can put it up on a jack, but I chose just to put a couple of blocks of wood underneath that side stand, which is enough. Then when you've done that, you need to loosen off the pinch bolt at the bottom of the right hand fork leg. There's no need to loosen the axle off, just slacken off the pinch bolt. This is essentially a self-centering mechanism that allows your fork legs to position themselves straight, and it is essential that you do this before trying to fit a fork brace. Once that's done, peel back your fork gaiters and offer the front part of the brace up to the tops of your fork legs. Now, this is a precision machine part, and it may need a little bit of firm pressure to actually get it to go on and engage correctly into the grooves on the top of those fork legs. Once you've got it in place, offer the back part up to it, and the same here. It may need some firm pressure to coax it into place. If you're having problems with this, it might be necessary to insert your bolts and essentially use them as a press, gradually tightening them up one by one, a little bit at a time, to pull everything into place. Make sure that your Delrin adapters, if you're using them, are positioned correctly so that the joint where the two halves meet corresponds with the two joints on the brace. Then tighten all your nuts up one by one until you start to feel some resistance. Then individually, one by one, tighten them up in a rotation about a quarter to a half turn each at a time. This is a little bit time consuming, but it's important that you do this to make sure that the brace is pulled onto the top of your fork leg evenly. The last thing that you want is it going on at an angle and catching somewhere. Once you start to feel some firm pressure from the bolts, it's time to torque it up. And I recommend a torque setting of 10 Newton meters. These bolts will take more if you want to err on the side of caution, but I think 10 Newton meters is enough. Now, before you fasten your pinch bolt back up, it's time to do a little bit of bouncing. Sit on the bike, get it level, pull your front brake in and bounce the bike up and down on its front forks. Listen and feel for any signs that the fork stanchions might be banding or sticking. Ensure that you've got a good, smooth, fluid movement and everything is as it should be. If everything's okay, you can then retighten that pinch bolt to 27 Newton meters. Once you've done that, go back and repeat the bouncing procedure. Again, checking for any signs that the forks might be sticking or banding as you bounce it up and down. If that all checks out, you're done. Not only should your front suspension and your forks now be tuned to the point where you're going to get as precise a handling reaction as is humanly possible, you've also got a nice piece of custom hardware fixed to your bike. It's yet another adornment that gives the bike a more purposeful, performance orientated look. A quality piece of kit that isn't just designed to look good, it's also designed to fulfill a very relevant purpose. Now, as usual, I will leave a product link to Motone's website for this Bonneville fork brace, and as always, thank you for watching. Now, I hope you've enjoyed this video and that you have found it useful. If you have enjoyed it, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel. Just one word about the radiator guard for the water-cooled Triumph twins. Motone probably won't thank me for saying this, but it would appear that these guards are selling out very quickly, so if you're on the fence as to whether to get one, now is the time to make your mind up. Last but not least, the winner of the Black Union Jack Motone throttle body covers is Chris Bolton. So Chris, if you could get in touch with me via the private messaging service here on YouTube, we'll sort something out about getting those throttle body covers out to you. I'll be back again on Friday as usual, so until then, please ride carefully and I'll see you soon.